Paul, how did you find carnivore?
Hello, Dave. And as many have said before, and I'm going to say it too, thank you for doing this. I've watched many. I haven't seen them all, but I've seen a lot of them, of your videos. And, I'm not a big joiner of communities. So you've kind of been a big part of my community for a while. So thank you. How to find carnivore? You want a long story or the short story? I'll try to make the long story shorter. I had issues with my diet or had ideas about my diet, had body dysmorphia, thought I was fat from when I was young, even though I wasn't huge. Anyway, vegan, pescatarian, sad diet, just the whole gamut of stuff through the years. Um, Came in touch with keto, probably online. I can't remember how I heard about keto, probably on YouTube. And somewhere in there, the carnivore docs, came up on my algorithm, just like everybody else. And I thought, well, that's effing crazy, I mean, like, oh, well, that sounds weird as hell. Anyway, moved on and they just kept showing up. And, one day I was bored and started listening. And the more I listened, the more I was intrigued by the whole idea. Um, my Yeah. Part of my physical symptoms through the years has been really crappy digestion. So I'm a trauma kid. So I grew up in trauma like all the time. Basically, I was afraid for my safety. And every meal in my complete childhood, I ate right next to my father, like right next to him. It took me 20 years to unwind my left arm because there was so much tension involved with like sitting at the dinner table or the breakfast table or whatever meal was being served. Um, yeah, it was just a very stressful situation for me all the time, and particularly around food as I thought about it, because like I ate everything as fast as I could with as much tension as I possibly could. I'm sure that had some involvement with my digestive system as the years passed. So anyway, I tried keto. I went on keto. Um, I did that for like 3 years. Um, But I have to say that I am clearly a food addict. When they talk about comfort food and I ate this as comfort food, well, everything I ate was comfort food. Every last morsel. And I had no regulatory mechanism. So I'd be eating, and I say quote keto. I went keto quote unquote, because like whether I was in ketosis or not, I have no flipping idea, you know but I was stuffing food in my face as fast as I could, and literally like stopping meals was like, God, I've been stuffing my face for so long. Maybe it's time to stop. I always wonder how I didn't end up to be 400 pounds, really. I mean, I just like food stuffing, like, yeah, pistachios. Oh, they're keto. Let's eat the whole bag. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how my little brain works. So, yeah. Anyway, that was all happening. Um, so I don't know what, just I wasn't changing, but basically I'm sure I had SIBO. I've never been diagnosed with SIBO, but my gut was just like blown up. I had a big ass Buddha belly and indigestion at all times and constipation and la, on and on. So I said, well, eventually I'm, I'm going to give this a try. So I'm just kind of an addict all the way around. I mean, I'm a food addict clearly, but I've been addicted to substances and been clean from that for many years. Um, so, I just jumped in. I never had a problem. There was no like, oh, I'm going to halfway like do this or that. And I guess probably because I've been eating low carb or keto or whatever, I didn't really have any like the transition period that people talk about. I had that more going into keto, like the keto flu thing. So I'm apparently, I'd reduced my carbs significantly anyway through the years. But I jumped off into eating keto. I mean, into carnivore. And, you know, my experience it's just funny. I laugh because like, I'm telling myself this is completely insane while I'm doing it. I mean, I really think this is nuts. I said this, all my programming is completely in place. I've got enough faith and hope or whatever to put this into my mouth and eat this way. but not to reverse all the programming. So I think I'm nuts. I don't need anybody else to tell me I'm nuts. I'm telling myself I'm nuts. And this went on for months. It's just like, you gotta be kidding me. I didn't even want to think about it because it was just seemed, so the idea still seemed insane to me, but I still did it. I'm eating all this fat, and my body at first did not digest fat very well. It was really, yeah, upset stomach. But I've struggled with constipation, and that just continued. I mean, nothing really changed that way. I just was eating this different way, and that's the reason I've responded to you before, and I waited till I was carnivore for over a year because I wanted to see more changes and see it actually come into fruition as opposed to just be speculative. Come on here and say, well, I'm hoping something might happen. You know what I mean? That's really not what I want to be saying. I want to give it a really good trial. The only things I have that are not I have a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar every morning. And basically that's it. That's not carnivore. That's I take some supplements, whatever. I'm working with a low carb doctor. Actually, I think I got introduced to that office through one of your podcasts. I do believe Dr. Tro. I think you interviewed Dr. Tro. I don't know, a while back. Anyway,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just dialed him up as soon as I watched your video, and I dialed him up, and I've been working with somebody in his office ever since. So you get the referral. Hopefully, you get some money for that. That'd be awesome, dude. But anyway, so yeah, so I jumped off in. I don't even know. It's not right away did I even get the doc. I was really looking for a doc, so probably maybe I don't know 6 months in, maybe I got the doc. But yeah, so that's the thing. I've been carnivore ever since. It was March or February 29th, leap year of 24, and today is like March 30th, so that's right at 13 months. That I've been doing this for.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in that 13 months, what's happened?
So one of the things that's happened is that and I didn't. I heard this like thing. Your relationship to the sun will change. I said they say, oh, Dr. Barry. Oh, blah 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 about the sun, blah blah blah. I'm going, whatever, dude. I mean, whatever. But I'm out in the sun, and what marshmallows look like when they get that nice golden toast on them. Before you burn them, if you're putting them over a fire, that's what my skin looks like in the sun. Whenever. I don't even there's no sunscreen. There's no whatever. I wear long sleeves, which I used to do because I hated sunscreen and all the chemicals, and I just yuck. Anyway, so I have this brand new relationship to the sun. I'm like a native, I'm my heritage is Northern European, right? So I got real fair skin. And in the past, burning was just part of the process, I mean, that's just was always thinking, you always had to protect yourself, protect yourself. I don't have to do any of that shenanigans anymore. I'm just like a golden marshmallow in the sun. So that's pretty cool, actually. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, we're just going down the body composition. So I haven't lost all the weight. I originally thought I needed or wanted to lose about 30 pounds. You know what I mean? All these people are losing all this weight. Oh, I'm 70 years old, by the way. I started when I was 69. Now I'm 70. Um, so that didn't happen. I'm telling you, up or down, I don't think I've maybe gone up or down, just water weight, regular during a regular day, like 5 pounds up and down, just it's stable, completely stable, has been from the get go. But I will say that my body composition is quite a bit different. I've gone down 2 belt loops in my regular pants, which is probably like 2 inches, and my profile is completely different. My belly, my bloated SIBO belly is no longer there. Um, yeah. All of a sudden the whole digestive system became much quieter. And I'll just say this too. I have a lot of food sensitivities, environmental sensitivities, food sensitivities. When I use spices and just ate the American crap diet, you know, every meal was an adventure because I never knew how it was going to turn out. I mean, if I'd eat in a restaurant, I would never know. if I was going to like hit on whatever percentage of things that I was sensitive to and have all these allergic responses. I took antihistamines for many years, and that's really a drag too. You know, because I'm allergic. My allergy tests of the past: trees, grasses, all that stuff. So it's springtime in Colorado, USA, where I'm at right now, and normally this is a real high, you know, allergen time of year. Things are starting to bud, etc. Winter hasn't been too bad lately. I'm not taking any antihistamine right now, and I'm not having any symptoms beyond just the minimal things that I kind of have. But I mean, it's just like wintertime is better because it kills everything, right? In this particular part of the world because of the snow and all that. But I'm not having any symptoms, even though it's an early spring here. We've had days in the 70s already, pretty regularly, and so I'm not going to say the other shoe's not going to drop, you know, that something will crop up. I know, but so far it's been really good. So far, my sensitivities are much better, and it's not the compound thing, you know. You got the food sensitivities, and you got the outside sensitivities. You know, my eyes are watering, my nose is running, blah 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 blah. Anyway, it affects sleep. There's so much actually that goes into that. But anyway, that's going pretty good. Um, my sleep is better. You know, because of where I grew up, as I mentioned, sleep has been a real interesting proposition throughout the decades. Um, yeah, I used to be really like horribly depressed, sleep deprivation. Every day I'd wake up fatigued and irritable, you know, and it just sucked. That has gotten better. I took antidepressant medication for like 17 years, and I've been off it for a while, and I'm doing better. I've learned a lot of coping skills. I'm much better at handling my shit, but I sleep better. I mean, really, like last night, I slept. I slept like a brick, you know. And I use some supplements. I take some magnesium and all this type of stuff. But to be able to sleep and feel refreshed in the morning and get up and go, and that's actually changing too. I'm turning into more of a morning person than I ever have been. Which is not to say that I'm going to set the world on fire anytime soon. But I just don't wake up totally like a stump. Anyway, I mean, my brain is shifting. I say I'm a much nicer person than I used to be. I was just all kind of always irritable and gloomy, and I never really, happiness and joy was not something that I really played around in very much. I had to always keep more. The addict's theme is more is better. Just keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing to keep my emotional head above water. So anyway, I feel like my anxiety has gone down as well. I mean, I didn't even realize how much anxiety I had till I realized it. You know what I mean? It's like I was anxious about everything, and I'm probably not. It's not all ironed out, but it's much better. It's much better. I feel pretty good. So I like to work out. I've always liked to exercise. Has been since I turned my life around so many years ago. Exercise has been a very integral part of my recovery because it's a great mood stabilizer. For one thing, you can get a lot of frustration and anxiety and stuff out in exercise, intense exercise. So I've been doing that for like decades and decades. But even at 70 years old, I'm finding my recovery is much better. On the carnivore, my recovery is much better. Like I worked yesterday. I worked a 12-hour day yesterday, which was fairly athletic. I mean, I had steps, man. I climbed at least 15 to 20 stories yesterday going up and down those steps, if not more. And it's very mentally challenging as well. Well, this morning I woke up and I did steps at home. I did steps at home, and I was able to do some other, reps with resistance bands, which I like working with. And I was fine. It was intense this morning. I was doing like I use a one-legged footstool, do like body weight single leg presses. You know what I mean? But it was great. I mean, and I'm fine. I'm fine, and it seems like as I go through the night, like I sleep enough to actually get recovered. Where actually the next day it's like starting over again, as opposed to having carryover from the day before. Of whatever physical stress or whatever. You know. So, anyways, I like that. the teeth thing, another thing people talk about that I thought was like, oh, whatever. I don't want to hear about your teeth, really. But I don't. I've had surgery. I've had, where they cut you, slice your gums over, because there's, infection and all that stuff. And it's like my teeth are just better. They're not falling apart. I don't stress over them. Yeah, I don't know. They're just seem to be fine. You know what I mean? It's like I'm just not getting infections, even though I'm really not getting as much checkup as I should probably with that.
So, I mean, that's great that you've seen so many changes. Um, what, like, you didn't experience the transition symptoms going in. You've done this for
Right.
13 months and you've seen all these changes. What have you been eating day to day to get to this point? Like, what's your menu like?
When I was starting out with like eating 4 eggs a day and bacon and all this stuff, right? Pork, whatever. Fish, I still eat fish a little bit. I'll tell you about that anyway. So I still had some reactivity. I could tell, or I was suspecting there was still some reactivity to the eggs, and the bacon never felt that clean to me. You know what I mean? It just never felt like, yeah, like maybe there's something going on here that I don't even know about. I'm so used to this high level stuff, so I cut things down. So I said, well, I'm going to try and go closer to lion diet, because I thought I did it as an experiment, just like keto or just like carnivore, as an experiment. I said, well, I'm going to try this for 30 days or a week or whatever and see what happens, right? So it reduced my reactivity. It reduced my inflammation and stuff. And basically, at one point I went back and I tried a pound of bacon, and I could tell it was different. It wasn't gross. It wasn't like I went back to eating all the green stuff that was causing me issues. But I said, I don't know. I just liked it better without, and I haven't really gone back to eating eggs either. I really have noticed no negative side effect to that. I still eat a little bit of a little bit of pork rinds. I have some pork rinds. They're kind of my filler, my little fat filler. If I need a little munchie just here and there. Um, but that's really it as far as like I told you, as the teaspoon or the tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Mostly chuck steak. Chuck steak twice a day, mostly. Oh, I do. Occasionally I do. I like a little bit of fish every now and again, either some sardines or a can of pink salmon or something. But mostly, like 95% of the time, I'm just eating chuck steak or mince, hamburger, whatever. You know. And I eat 2 meals a day. I think I'm eating about between 2 and 2.5 pounds of meat a day. I'm 5'10". I know you're going to ask that question next. I've watched a number of your videos. Anyway, I weigh about, well, I'm weighing myself differently. So I weigh, it's at 206 today. That's what the scale said today was 206. So, and I started out at 215, but I was wearing clothes, so I don't know. I may have lost 5 pounds, through this thing, but mostly the body composition. Before I got into the carnivore, I had two new hips. And as soon as my hips recovered from their surgeries, I took them on a mountain, slammed both shoulders into the mountain, tore one rotator cuff, and messed up the other shoulder. So I've been rehabbing. I've been physically rehabbing. Yeah, ever since I've been on carnivore, so it's just like regaining my legs and regaining my shoulders is like a daily operation for me. So yeah, and I think the carnivore helps. I mean, I got some shoulders on me. I got muscles in my shoulders. You know what I mean? I'm 70 years old. I got
Mhm.
muscles. I got a butt. I got a butt
Yeah.
that's got some muscle in it.
So you feel like it is helping somewhat with the rehab?
Oh, I definitely think. I think I'm maximizing. I think I'm doing as good as I can. You know what I mean? I really do. I really feel like because see, so here's the thing. I listen to all these people talking about going through all these changes about like cheating and having these cravings, all this stuff, right? I don't have any of that. I don't have anything even resembling. I am so happy to be eating the way I am. I'm telling you, the 10 best meals I ever ate in my life, I've eaten on carnivore. Swear to God. And it's probably more than that. And that's just a phrase I use. I know it's not possible for all these meals to be the best ever, but that at the time, that's what they taste like. You know what I mean? And this is I'm just eating the same stuff I ate yesterday, right? But I'm really hungry for whatever reason. You know what I mean? It just hits me at that time. I eat a lot of fat. Oh yes, but yeah, I eat a lot of fat. I eat ghee. I'm really can't do butter. I'm too reactive to dairy. Um, so I do some ghee, and I do for a long time. I was cooking with lard, but since I've really switched over to like lion, I've been cooking with tallow. Um, so I eat a lot of fat. And at first I didn't have a lot of energy. The first 6 months, I'll say my energy didn't really change at all. I have to say, more recently, I have more energy. I just do things as opposed to wish I might be doing something. You know what I mean? It's like it's great to have an urge to do something, but I've actually been like just doing things, just like, oh, I think about, well, let's just do it then. Let's like, get her done. So, yeah, that's been more of a thing lately. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So how have people around you reacted to this?
I'm not a big. I've got a friend who's a type 2 diabetic and who's basically falling apart. Every time I see him, something new is falling apart in his life. And I brought it up to him. You know what I mean? But I mean, we're close, and I don't want to be that overbearing dude that you want to avoid because he's so overbearing on a particular topic. So I've sent him a video or two, and I've shared my experience with him. I've shared what I've observed in other people's lives through all the videos and such. But and he's aware of it. I actually saw him eat a carnivore meal one time. But he's such a carb addict. I mean, he's like 100% down with the addiction. You know what I mean? He is like drinking Coca-Colas and eating chocolates. So there's nothing I can do about that. I don't really publicize what I'm doing. I'm not a hugely social person. And I don't feel I live alone. I'm not into, you know, whatever. So some people know, some people think it's kind of cool, as they've said, but, mostly I don't talk about it very much. So, nobody gives me any crap about it, that's for sure. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So at this stage, do you feel like this is the way you're gonna eat forever?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a rut lover. I'm an addict. I love my ruts. I don't run from ruts. I seek them. I just want the right rut. And that's me. It's like I got all kinds of other benefits I could have shared about as well too, because I've got them all written down here. That my lab works good and all that stuff. But yeah, like I don't want to give it up. I mean, like I said, the 10 best meals I've ever eaten have all been carnivore. You know, um, I don't eat out a lot, but I know where I can get a steak cooked in butter. You know what I mean? And so when I need to make a public appearance, I go where I can get a steak cooked in butter, and I eat it, and I go, yum yum, this is good, and yeah. So I have no reason to change. If I ran out of money completely, I don't know. I know I could cut my food budget almost in half if I switched just to eating mince. I could do that, but I like the steaks, so I continue to eat the steaks. And that's what I do.
Right. And so you have had some lab work done recently? Like what has your doctor said about this?
She's cool with it, you know. So my testosterone, I was diagnosed with low testosterone probably when I was 45 years old. you know? And they sent me this little kit full of needles and little vials I was supposed to be injecting into my body. And I said, "Oh, I'm not doing this. this is this is not something I plan on doing for the rest of my life." Clearly, so my testosterone is like mid-range. The first one, which was done when I was about 6 months into carnivore, this thing called testosterone binding globulin was in there, which is blocks your body from absorbing the testosterone, was elevated. The last one I just had done just a couple weeks ago, that's all back in the normal range, and testosterone is still in about the mid range. So I'm assuming the only thing that could have probably changed that was going to carnivore. You know, um, yeah. Oh, I got all this stuff, Dave. I've been diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, which is an autoimmune disorder. I got eczema, which is an autoimmune disorder. You know, ADHD. There's that too. So yeah, I feel so the eczema hasn't just gone away. So it was gone, then it came back, and I think right at this very moment, it's stabilizing again. I only have it one place in the right hand, which is really crazy. Like I can't feel like the majority of my right fingertips because of the eczema, which is pretty crazy. The ankylosing spondylitis, I don't know what. I've always thought I was really stiff. I don't, it's like they call it bamboo of the spine or whatever, But like I said, I work out and I really work on all that stuff on the daily basis, really. So I can't say how it's really affecting that, except that I'm having no symptoms. I mean, I'm really like, if there are symptoms, I don't know there's symptoms because I'm not in pain. Not in pain is a good day when you're 70 years old, you know, and I'm not in pain. I'm not taking any medication and I'm not in any pain. You know what I mean? Like a stiff ass sometimes when I get up, but that's like life, right? But anyway, yeah, so yeah.
And, have you noticed anything with the ADHD?
ADHD is so much more than attention deficit. I mean, there's so much more going on there. Like emotionally, there's a lot of instant irritability. I would say goes along with it. It's just like it's on the autism scale. I mean, it's on the lower end, but there's just things that aren't the same to what people who don't have it. So I would say my attention is good. I haven't One of the things when I took the antidepressant medication, it also helped with the ADHD. It was one that was on the treatment tree for ADHD as well. So it had, and I needed it for a lot of years. I mean, if I would switch a job, man, like learning a new computer system or whatever, it was brutal, you know. But I'd say it's really good. I mean, my organizational skills still suck, and they probably will till I croak. But that's okay. I can function at work and all those kinds of things, and yeah, do paperwork and yeah, I'd say it's good.
So you're still working at 70?
Oh yeah, I work in the mental health field. I have my entire career, so I kind of found jobs that got rid of all the aspects that I didn't like, which is bureaucracy and paperwork, and just keep me face to face with someone to work with. You know what I mean? Like try to make an impact on the individual basis. I'm much more of a individual involvement type person than a global type person. I used to drive myself crazy about world affairs and man's inhumanity to man, and all that stuff that I drove myself crazy about. But I wasn't doing anything about it. I was just like being miserable, right? And since I've started changing things around, I try to be more proactive on an individual basis and do what I can within the realm of my strengths or whatever. So that's kind of what I do. Oh, I was just going to say with the labs, the LDL is up, but my HDL and triglycerides are fine. That's a good ratio, all that stuff. So my lab work is just better. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's been fine for a while. I think the keto, it was pretty fine there too. Like I said, the LDL went up. I get my medical through the VA, so you know he doesn't give me a bunch of crap about having a little extra. He offered me the statins, and I just said, well, no, I'm not going to do that. Whatever. You can have an opinion. It's great. My opinion is I'm not taking them. So yeah, but that's all good.
Yeah, yeah. So, Paul, based on your experience, if someone came to you and said, "Okay, I want to start carnivore, tell me what to do," what advice would you give them to maximize their chances of success?
Well, as I've heard so many times, I just listened to a interview today with Richard Smith today. That was a great interview, by the way. Thank you for that one. Um, I would say the same thing he said, like take it in increments. So that's really about all I would have to say. That just take it slow, listen to your body. I would say get help, talk to people. I'm not a big joiner, but I think joining these groups is a great idea. Just commiserating with others, is always helpful. Sharing your feelings and experience. We're not unique. We think we're unique, and then we find out that others have gone through the exact same thing, and it's like, oh, we just didn't know, right? And that's just really helpful in making any kind of major shift in your life, major lifestyle, change. So yeah, all those kinds of things.
Right, awesome. Um, so, Paul, if people want to reach out to you, do you have any way of getting in contact?
Yeah, I would just stick with my email. I have a whole YouTube site, but it's all music. So I'm a songwriter and all that kind of stuff. And so if you got my name right there, if you type Paul Tierlink into YouTube, my site will come up, and there's all sorts of free music if you're interested and all that sort of thing. It's there for you. Um, and just ptmusic8469 at Gmail. My email address would be the way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, no worries. I'll link to those in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on today, Paul, and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Dave. You're a hero, brother. Keep up your good work.